Welcome to the Medical Attack Vehicle Ambulance building. Today, I'm going to start something really new that I've never done before. Build a kitchen. Here's the cabinets. The wonderful people at Lowe's, the consultant there, gave me lots and lots of ideas, and we finally settled on this setup here. So this is a 60-inch base. It'll go all the way from one side, and these will be two hanging ones. The window to the cab goes in between there. The first modification is for this 1-inch cover that goes over the bin. So I'm going to have to cut the bottom on 3 sides, which is probably going to affect the integrity a little bit. And then of course the gigantic air conditioner unit has got to go inside the sink base. We have a bump out up here on the ceiling, and then a bump down, and then kind of the boards all over inside the wall. So this is going to be a big challenge. Okay, so just cutting, 3/4 of an inch off one side is one thing. Cutting a gaping hole in a whole corner, quite another thing. But cutting out something this big, I tell you, it's disconcerting to make these cuts, but then to think that if I get them in the wrong place, I've just ruined an expensive cabinet. So I'm measuring and measuring and measuring. With my experience with the vinyl flooring, I do make mistakes. So here's the hole for the air conditioner. It really cut the cabinet basically in two. I've added some new supports screwed from underneath, front and back, that'll stay 1, 2, 3 to help support it. Then I've got 2 temporary pieces because the air conditioner is going to come right up to this edge here. So I had to cut through this front support. So this one's in temporary and this one's in temporary. Hopefully when it's flipped over I put the screws where I could get them back out. Alright. We got it inside. So now the moment of truth. Will it slide in its spot? I need to take that bar out right down there. Alright, so here's the beginning of our kitchen. The enormity of this project is really sinking in on me. Now these will eventually be painted gray, similar to the walls. So what worked out well was the bottom. I'm leaving this support beam in here until it's finished, so I'll have to cut a new one. But it's hard to see, but the air conditioner is right here, but it's set back enough that when I make the new board to go over top of it, that will disappear. Now, here's a bad miscalculation I made. The air conditioner cuts right in the middle of the cabinet. So that didn't work out real well. If I had done the 36-inch, the cabinet would have stopped right here. So this whole thing would have been in the left one. And also I was planning on putting the Dometic refrigerator cooler fridge with the top that opens over on this side in the 24-inch cabinet with one door to slide out on a little tray. But as you can see, this isn't going to be wide enough. So the solution is to cut this right here, make this one big door. It'll still look like 2 doors, but it'll be one door, and it'll swing out over here. So basically probably just need to beef up the hinges, but that's doable. It's not the end of the world. And then it'll be a nice big opening to do a lot of different things. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have to pull this back out, which is not hard, it's not that heavy. Pull this back out and build out some 2x4s off the wall so that I'll be able to have something to attach the back of this to the wall. So not a big deal. Over here, I knew I was going to have to build out a dummy panel, but it's okay, except this little door here. I want to be able to swing it out, so there'll be a little notch out of it, which will be a little different. As far as inside, it's going to need to be a lot of trim work, a whole lot of trim work. Especially, I don't know why I keep messing up this. I did have to make this wide to clear this little thermostat sensor in the back, and there's a flange and all, but it's extra big. But it's nothing, it's a good thing I've been practicing trim work, so it's nothing I can't fix, because I'm going to have to fix that, because you don't want things dropping down in there, you'd never find them again. So I'm getting ready to do my ceiling cabinets, and what I've done here is I need to know exactly where it's safe to put the screws in the wall. So here's a picture that I saved where I put all my boards, and it shows also the wires and where I need not to be on that. So now in the back of the cabinets, there's 2 wood strips where you can mount to the wall. And what I've done here is I first drew in where those mounting strips need to go. Here. and up here. And then I drew in where my beams are, where I had supports, and then I scribbled in everywhere where it was safe to put a screw. So there's no board there in wire where it says no. There's lots of wires in there that say no, but there's an attachment on each side. This is going to allow me to be able to put up two 2x4s in just the right place so I can mount the cabinets up off the wall and be on top of this one here. So it'll be nice and flat. There'll be a little gap behind there. The same with the lower cabinet. Got my first cabinet up, put the boards across, and here something a little different to bring it all even. There's a gap back here, which is fine because I'm going to run wire chaseways. I'm probably going to put my electrical panel in the gap down here behind this one. So this is a great little chaseway for wires, and I'm also leaving a little gap here where I could come down in between the cabinets. And I'm just hanging it with a few screws because I know there'll be some fine tuning and adjustments. How about that? Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, went in pretty well. One small thing is the roof has a slight dome to it, and there is a big beam across there, and I screwed 2x4s to it hoping to connect the cabinets, which I did, but that caused a slight gap, really small slight gap right here. It comes down to nothing, but that I will be able to fix with caulk because I'm going to be painting these, so that shouldn't be noticeable at all. And there's just ever so little bit there, but I don't think that'll be noticeable. Now I had to bring the cabinets out because of the wiring boxes back there, so I just filled it in with two 2x4s. That will be a problem for the countertop. So the countertop will come here, the backsplash will come up, and there'll be a big gap. I'll have to build in something there. Hopefully it won't collide too much with this piece here. Next step is I need to build out the dummy panels. Now they're going to be dummy panels for now, but eventually there's going to have to be a lot of work customizing the inside of these cabinets because they're so deep. I want to do some slide outs, really make use of all this space. And I'm going to need to be able to still have access down here to put the water pump and to get access to the 110 plugs. So what'll eventually is I'll go ahead and make them today, and then eventually I'll cut out the insides here and the insides here and end up using all that space. But I want to just get that done so that I can start painting them and then start looking for a countertop. Alright, here's my first dummy panel. I didn't want any screws on the front. I put this piece on here, and this will help be detached from inside the other cabinet, and then I needed somewhere to screw in to keep this from going back and forth. So I'm gonna stick it in there. It's really tight, and see if I can get it just right. So there's the panel in place. Pretty close. Again, not perfect. It's hard to see. There's just a little gap there, a little gap there. Caulk will take care of it. Now this panel is quite a bit simpler because you don't have to make one for the top. We'll just get the countertop, will go all the way across. So if you notice, there's a little bit of a lip here. So I just took my wood and put that 2x2 there, and then I can put it right here and slide that right in, and then I'll put the screws from the inside. Boom, boom. No screws on the front. I did put a little notch here to clear this door here. Not quite sure how it's going to turn out when I have to cut the countertop on some kind of little arc or something, but there you have it with the filler panels installed. Paint is next. Every once in a while I build something that just does way better than I hoped it would. I've spent the last 3 nights in the MAV on the floor on a mattress, and I have to tell you, this is just one of the best things I've ever made, and it's made it so comfortable, is the embedded air conditioner unit that I made. This is just great. It's small. It doesn't take up much space. It can be completely hidden, and this little diverter makes sure that the air circulates completely through the whole area, and there's plenty of room for return. Works amazing. I'll put a little card here so if you'd like to see how I built that. If you have an RV with a bin, this is something you can build and really not let this be obtrusive and still be comfortable, and only uses 450 watts. So let's check out. So here is the painted cabinets. Real happy with how they turned out. I still need to put the trim board across the bottom here, but I'm so happy. I just used the regular paint from the wall, which is the eggshell in acrylic, And what I liked is I did 2 coatings, and it's a little difficult to see. It still retained the wood grain of the oak, which I really like. It's not quite a wash or a pickling, it's a complete coating, but I really like that. It gives it just the right amount of texture. Now the seam here is still kind of noticeable. I could have caulked it up some more to be rid of it, but then you would have been able to see where the caulk was and the wood grain was. So I just left it alone, and that's how that looks there. So here's the air conditioner, that's the chassis air conditioner. So what I did is I built a box around it, and I put the blower unit here on the side. So that sucks the air through the coils up front here. Air goes in there, goes through the coils here, comes out the blower here. Now I'm going to have to duct this around, might possibly duct it through the side to the back here, down through the dummy space, and put a couple vents right here. So that'll be perfect. So you might be thinking, well, how are you going to get the air in? Well, that's really cool because this panel pops off. Try not to break it. So what'll happen is, if I have somebody riding in the back, all I need to do is pop that panel off. That's plenty big enough to suck enough air into the intake and then be ducted out the back. Alright, so this takes care of the cabinets. The next project is the countertop. And I had an idea last night. I've got all this massive countertop space. Wouldn't this be great if I could use this as a desk? So I got to thinking, normally the sink would go here, but this is a pass-through. People might want to lean through there or talk, whatever, so leaning over the sink and the faucet would be really in the way. So I don't like that idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this sink over on this half. I'm going to take the countertop and split it right here. I'm going to put it on some drawer slides and have the whole countertop slide out to about here, and then get a chair which is about the height of a drafting desk chair right there. And so we'll have a nice big space for both a sit-down desk and a stand-up desk. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. I've got the countertops and I'm ready to cut it up and do the next project. So I'll see you in the next video and see if I can make a kitchen countertop into a desk.